Brennan. Hello, everyone. Uh, my name is Jesus Villalobos. I'm a rising third year at UC Berkeley, and I work with Professor Dan Garcia. Here, Dan, I don't know if you are actively in this meeting, but hey. So we've been working with Dan Garcia. I'll go ahead and share my screen to get this thing going. We've been working to like as the title of this presentation says. Oh, hey, Dan.
I'm in 3 meetings. I'm trying to make it all work with volunteers, So but I'm here. Don't worry.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you to hop in shortly, all right, to talk a little bit. Okay, perfect. So this is our presentation on embedded data within Snap script pics. So this is a project we've been working on for 4 semesters now, 3 semesters. We started last fall and last summer. We worked through the fall, spring, and then now it is officially a reality in Snap 8. So this embedded data actually was born from an idea of Dan to make things more efficient. So we'll just go through a little bit about that right now. Yeah, so I'm Jesus, and then we had a lot of generous help from Dorożalski. It's awesome, gave us a lot of starting ideas, a lot of guidance. So just want to give him a shout out along with Dan Garcia's Snap team within Dan's research group. So we'll start off with BJC and Snap. So the Beauty and Joy of Computing, the curriculum developed by Dan Garcia, and exclusively uses Snap to prepare students for Python programming and beyond, to teach students like the basics of what computer science is, how to use and manipulate data, so on and so forth. Is nationally recognized, and it's being actively translated into different languages. So right now we have a team within Dan's research group actually translating BJC to Spanish to teach in the Latin American countries. And this course is offered every semester at UC Berkeley as CS10. And I believe it has on average like 250 students. So every semester there's a good chunk of students that take this course. So now CS10 in Snap, going specifically into UC Berkeley. Students complete multiple homeworks, labs, and projects in the Snap environment. And essentially, these are all graded by readers. These are coordinated by staff, and we just want to make things a little more efficient for them. So when starter code is needed, starter files are provided. So we provide files, then we provide links. Students like save them to their machines and then keep working. But we have these questions. What if a single block was to be provided? Or what if we like to create some sort of starter code library, right? So we had these ideas about how to make things more efficient, right? And if we just wanted to share one block, we'd have to share an entire file. But sometimes like there's an easier solution to that. So we came up with the idea of using script pics and the scripts that are actually provided by Snap. So within Snap, as a lot of you, or most of you probably know already, you can export script pics, but you can also export the XML that actually creates those scripts within Snap. So we had exactly what we needed. So if we have a script pic, we can see what the script looks like. If we have the XML, once you drop the XML on, you actually get that script back. So we have exactly what we needed. We just needed to manipulate it to get it to the state we wanted it to be. So we actually went through a couple iterations of this project. We started off with steganography, and this is back when we were just experimenting last summer and early last fall. Steganography is actually the process of hiding data within images. It is used a lot by hackers, or you're trying to use it for a good thing, to actually hide our data, which would have been our XML within the RGBA pixels of an image. And that way the data would always live inside an image. But we came across the fact that you'd have to actually manipulate the pixels, change their colors, And if you tried to set the alpha channel 0, you actually got rid of those pixels. So we moved on to actually using PNG data chunks. So PNG data chunks are metadata that live within a PNG. Those are transported everywhere, and these are manipulatable. So these are transferable everywhere. They live inside the PNG, and that way, like wherever it goes, the data goes with it. So then after going through this implementation with help from Dariusz and actually developing a working proof of concept, we consulted Jens, and Jens pushed us to the idea of using a snap costume. So that way we can actually embed anything from within Snap inside of a costume. We just temporarily create a costume, add a new attribute to the costume class, and then we store everything within there. So I think I've been talking quite a bit. So we're gonna go ahead and show a demo. I didn't have time to record a brand new demo specifically for this, but I will show a demo that we showed Dan 2 weeks ago. So this will be a use case for CS10 exactly. This is actually part of our journey on auto grading. So this is our environment that we use to have students submit code. This is just a demo question, but I'll just go ahead and press play here. So this is a sample assignment. The blocks you'll see within here, they would not actually be used to test anything. They were just used for the proof of concept. And then I'm talking more in the background, but I just muted it. So you can see here in this environment, we're actually trying to auto grade student code. So this would be a sample output. And then if we wanted to actually show students what blocks were used to grade their code, we'd be able to provide them here. But like the same question arises is, what if someone wanted to test their own code locally? What if they only wanted to test one thing? What if they only want to test another thing? So instead of providing them the entire file, we provided them with the liberty of being able to download just the thing they want to test. So in a couple seconds here, you actually see me click on an image and it'll download the test file. And the beautiful thing with Snap 8 now is that you can actually just drop these script pics onto the editor and they'll actually come back with the scripts. So this is me actually running it locally. This is before Snap 8 was live, but now within the live Snap 8, this will actually work. And I'll show a demo of that right now. So now students here have the liberty of choosing what they want to test, exactly what they want to test, however many times they want to. And that just gives them a nice starting place. And you can see that this will be immediately extensible to like any starter code library. And I hear that Jens demoed this at his keynote, so you guys have all probably seen this already. So this is something we're really excited about, and this extends to any other data that lives within Snap. So like, for example, here we have a list of lists. You just export the script, it all comes back. And if you want the actual image itself as a costume, you just drag it on to the costumes. Oh. And it should return. Oh. Yeah. And then once something is here within the costume, you can actually just get blocks and then everything will be returned. So this is what we've been working on. And Dan, do you have anything you want to add in? I'll let you hop in.
Well, I mean, maybe we want to talk also, because Jesus, you and others are part of that. So we're having some. Okay. You might want to talk about.
Not hearing you.
Okay, all right. We had, you know, you're at the AV thing. We got three people trying to display. Um, Talk about the translation, because all this came about because we were think the people who built the BJC curriculum didn't have this feature when they were doing script picks. So all those script picks are just pictures. And we're
Mhm.
thinking, wow, we're going to be remaking those blocks because we're trying to translate to the Spanish. And we would love to be able to contribute to the family of people translating BJC and other language, you know, and BJC Sparks, BJC High School to other languages. So let's do it right once. So maybe you want to talk a little bit, Jesus, about that initiative we're doing to translate to Spanish and why this is so useful if you're going to translate this to Spanish. Maybe you might want to show a demo of, you know, having the block done for Spanish and being able to then drag it and switch languages. You want to maybe show that little demo? That'd be really wonderful to show. Just because all the team that I have, it's a wonderful team taking rebuilding the blocks. Maybe sometimes we find it XML, sometimes we have to rebuild it from scratch from the BGC high school curriculum. The idea is if they're going to rebuild, remaking that anyway, let's save that as a file, put it in a special place, and then that's now trivial to change it to another language for another translation. Maybe you want to show that a little bit? That'd be great.
Yeah, so here it'll work either in both languages, right? But anywhere you can make a block, right? You could
Maybe zoom
export
in.
it.
Maybe zoom in a bit.
Okay. Uh, yes. So, for example, here, if we translate something in Spanish, right, and we want to translate it to another language, or for right now we're doing from English to Spanish, you just export the script or export the script pick. And now if you want to change this back to English, say we reload it, you just bring this back in and translate it to English, all automatically. And this would work with any other language as well. So, for example, we want this in French. We bring in a originally Spanish script, and it's automatically translated to French. So now what we're doing in our use case is we have a library of starter blocks of demo blocks that we use within the English course that we actually want to translate to the Spanish. But before this, we would have had to make everything in English and then make everything in Spanish. But now we can just make everything in English, drag it on to Snap, and have it automatically translate, re-download. And we actually created another tool that does that for us, actually downloads everything for us. So this just makes everything more efficient, much more just translatable, instead of having to actually go through. And you can imagine if we had 100 complex scripts, for example, we'd have to go through and remake 100 complex scripts. Well, here now we just drag and drop very easily.
I wanted to say, do you want to also talk about maybe having this be um, a headless snap where someone doesn't have to take a directory of PNGs, all with code within them, and then manually do that, how you would script that process. And you've been working with some of that, Jesus. You want to talk about that a little bit? Because that would be cool to basically take a directory of PNGs and make it now a directory of, you know, Chinese PNGs or Japanese or
Yeah,
French PNGs. You want to talk about that a little
yeah.
bit? That's cool.
Yeah, so we have an existing tool right now that will take a project's XML, load the project. This is all done on the back end. So a user will just drop in a project's XML into a directory, and we actually have a tool that will load the XML and manually go through or automatically go through and export all the script picks within or script picks of all the scripts within that project. So easily, like Dan is saying, we can add a new feature that actually changes the language before re-downloading. So that way we can have a directory of images, drop them all on, change the language, and automatically have them re-download in different languages. So that can be done in like a matter of seconds or minutes, depending on like how many script picks you have. But that can all be automated. Just make everyone's lives really easy. Yeah, and then the last slide I have here is our next steps. So one thing that I actually want to do is include sprites in this. So if you export a sprite, you can export all of its data, all of its blocks, all of its custom blocks. And then we actually want to use this in the demo that we were showing to complete our auto grading mission. So then we can efficiently transport our tester blocks within a sprite, and then we can just give someone a sprite, say contains all of your tests, and then have them do the exact same thing. Dan, you have anything else?
Sure. Well, I just want to thank Jens, because one of the things we were doing a long time ago was, Brian or I would have an undergraduate, we'd work for a semester on some project, and then say, "Here, Jens, we made a project," and he would say, "Well, that wasn't really where I wanted to go," and so that work was kind of lost or didn't get folded into the build and the final release. So what Jens said is, let's work from the beginning. Let me actually make it easier for you. So in fact, once he heard, and I was talking about Jesus doing in this project to have code carrying PNGs and working with he said, well, there's somebody on the forum working on that, and that was Dariusz. So that was really wonderful to connect to what he knew about people trying to write code carrying PNGs. But in addition, Jens said, let's lubricate and facilitate this whole process. Anytime you have a student that wants to do X, bring me in from day one, from minute one, and I'll say, wow, they want to do X, that's a cool idea, or let me adjust it to this, and then he said, let me then build some extensions that make it even easier to do X. So you'll still have to do the work to do X, but let me make it easier from you per snap. Then the student goes off and does X and then comes back and then he'll fold it in. So anybody who's working with students, I want to recommend get in touch with Jens early and then bring that into the conversation, and he'll then guide you with that. So I really want to thank Jens for kind of shifting the way we did things to be a really now very facilitated process where he's in from, it's almost like you bring him in from the ground floor. And now we're ready to go. And he was then, actually, I want to thank Jens for his support of Jesus. All through the semester, Jesus was connecting with Jens, and it was it was just wonderful to watch Jesus be folded into the development community. And I'm excited to see, what the next exciting thing that Jesus can see we need. And then maybe he'll be part of the team of supporting other Berkeley students to do this. So again, I want to thank Jesus for taking a leadership for doing that. I've never had a student to be more connected with the Snap development. Brian has had some students, but I never have. So again, I want to thank Jesus for taking that leadership role and connecting with the Snap community, and then teaching younger students to do that, which I'm really excited to see. So thanks again, Jesus, and thank you, Jens, for that work. Great job.
No problem. We're actually very excited to get this whole auto grading journey on its feet. So like one example I can share about what Dan was talking about is we were trying to figure out a way, like how can we use our grader blocks to actually grade a student's block. So if a student had a block, foo or bar or something like that, if we wanted to, before Snap 8, grade a student's foo or bar, we would need it to exist in our script for grading. Or else when you import a script, it'd say the script does not exist. So we actually worked with Jens to actually create a new block that's in Snap 8 now, that looks for the first version of that named block that you could find. So if we use that block in our grading script, we say use the student's bar function, Snap will actually go look for the first definition of bar. So that's one thing that we worked very closely with Jens for, and we look forward to keeping in the loop on the whole Snap development to actually get this whole auto grading on its feet very soon. I know as CS10 gets larger, the capacity for readers becomes very more the need for readers grows a lot. But if we can automate this entire process, then that would be much better for just course logistics, A's for all, and Dan's mission, and then just making it a nice MOOC.
Did I miss the part about how the auto grading works?
So right now, auto grading, Dan, do you want to talk more about that auto grading?
Well, it's not the point of this talk. We're building a facility to be able to bring into Prairie Learn, which is a system that can generate new exams. So it randomizes, gives the student a new exam, and Jesus and a whole team of folks behind Jesus is actually working on having it be able to auto grade it. We've had a lot of students work on that, and we're hoping to launch it this fall. But there's a lot of auto grading initiatives. You'll see some actually talks at the SnapCon about auto grading. I think Brian Brohl is going to do a talk on auto grading. So other folks are talking about it, and we're excited to see some of the success. But we have our own Prairie Learn specific solution that we have to allow for some auto grading, which is nice.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So with that
Thank
in
you.
mind, thank you so much.